Hello, welcome to Jason the Old Millennial. My name is Jason, speaking to you here in my basement in the great state of Kansas. Today's video, we're going to talk about my top 10 favorite movies from the 1980s. Yes, we finally got into my top 10. I started with 100 movies, and we're now to the last 10 movies, the best 10 movies in my opinion. And it's been a lot of fun going through these movies and be able to come up with a list of 100. I didn't know if I could do it, but it's been fun talking about some movies that are probably not as known as others. Hopefully there's some good, hidden gems in there that you'll check out at some point. But I think most of these movies in my top 10 are pretty well known, pretty big movies, pretty big blockbusters that everybody's seen, hopefully. And you'll enjoy hearing my thoughts anyways. But I want to shout out Ryan from Real Talks with Ryan. Great movie channel where he talks about movies and does movie reviews. And he suggested this because he won my Oscar predicting contest earlier this year. And so for winning it, he suggested this as a kind of a project for me to do, ranking my favorite 80s movies. So I turned into my 100 favorite 80s movies, and I've been doing this series for the last several months, and it's been a blast to do and talk about it. Anyways, and so I want to thank Ryan so much. He's got such a great channel. I've always been a big fan of his channel, and he's also been a really good friend of mine, and I can't say enough of how much I appreciate his friendship, and I hope he's really enjoying this series that I'm doing on his suggestion anyways. And so thanks, Ryan, and thanks for entering to my contest. I really appreciate that as well. So on this, I'm going to do 10 through 6 because I'm just going to spend so much time talking about each movie. It's going to take a while. I'm not going to be able to fit all 10 movies in one video, so I'm going to split it in two, just do 10 through 6 here. So let's get to the list here on Jason the Old Millennial. No way! All right, at number 10, we got Star Trek Voyager. Yes, this is, I believe, the 4th Star Trek movie from the kind of original cast. And this is generally my second favorite Star Trek movie. My favorite being First Contact, which came out in the 90s, which I saw in the theater. But yeah, this is my favorite from this 80s period. This one was also directed by Leonard Nimoy. He plays Spock in the movie. Second movie that he directed for the movie series. And overall, I love it because it's a time travel story, and I love time travel stories, as you'll see when I get to my number 1 pick. Not to spoil it already, but you probably know what it is. But I love time travel. It's such a cool idea, like how you go to the past and change the future, whatever. It's an interesting story of they have to go to the past to get to humpback whales, because there's an alien that comes to try to talk to the humpback whales in the future, but they've been extinct, and so then these aliens are going to like destroy planet Earth or whatever. And so they have to go in time to San Francisco in the 70s or something like that, or 80s, I guess, and get these 2 humpback whales, a female male, so they can repopulate the species, and these aliens won't kill them in the future or whatever. So it's a cool story, or interesting idea of a story for a Star Trek movie that's all about just getting these 2 whales, whatever. But it's great because of time traveling. It's great because they're fish out of water story. They're in the past where their technology is not up to what they're used to. So they have to, it's very funny. This is definitely the funniest of the Star Trek movies. That's probably partially why I like it so much. It makes me laugh so much because they're trying to blend in the past, and they're having a hard time because they can talk to computers and stuff like that. And back in the day, the computers are very, elementary. Certain inventions weren't invented. I love, one of my favorite scenes is when McCoy, the doctor, Dr. Bones, whatever, they go to get Chekhov in the hospital, and he looks at the hospital as medieval times. He's like, where were we, the medieval times? You're going to cut into somebody? Because medical technology has gone so great in the future that he looks down on our current medical. Anyway, that's a very funny scene overall. His disgust of our hospital system, but it's what's interesting about the movie is like they have a it's one of those timetable movies where they have only this amount of time to get these humpback whales. So they figure how are we going to get these humpback whales? How are we going to transport them into this Klingon bird of prey? We need a fish tank to also put in there so they can stay in this fish. Anyways, and then we have to figure out how to get back into the future. Anyway, so there's so many elements that they're all working on as a crew, and different crew members are going out trying to figure out all these different aspects that they have to all work together. So I love that it's like, okay, we got to get this done in a certain amount of time and all that, And of course, like I said, I love the comedic moments of like Kirk and Spock trying to get on a bus and like, what's change? They don't know what money is. And, of course, Spock giving the Vulcan grip on the guy that's playing music too loud and stuff like that, and trying to get Spock to use more foul language, because that's what they use in these days. They use foul language, and then Spock trying to use it. It's absolutely hilarious, but also just very well told story. I think very well crafted, and there's just so many obstacles that they have to go through that it's a very fun movie to watch. Anyway, so I got Star Trek Voyage Home. I think I said Voyager. Voyage Home here at number 10. At number 9, I have The Karate Kid. Yeah, ever since I was a kid, I was a huge fan of The Karate Kid. I remember watching this on a VHS tape or something like that when I was a kid, and I watched the heck out of it. This and the second movie, I was a big fan of both Karate Kid 1 and 2, and watched them nonstop. And a lot of it is because I just loved martial arts movies. I was always been big into martial arts movies, kung fu movies, karate movies, shoot 'em up movies, whatever. Anytime two people are fighting, I love it. I'm a huge fan of that. And so as a kid, I remember watching this and just really loved, of course, it's, about being bullied and stuff like that. And Mr. Miyagi, love Mr. Miyagi, one of the greatest characters of all time. Love that Pat Morita got nominated for an Best Supporting Actor Oscar. Very deserving. He gives a great performance, and it's an iconic character. It's just so memorable. At least for me, I think anybody, again, if you're an old millennial like me, and you remember, and if you're older than me even, you remember maybe watching the theater even, that it's such a great character anyways. And that relationship that they have is so great. But I think as a kid, I just enjoyed, because at the end they have that karate tournament, and then all the training, him training to know karate. And I never learned karate, but I think as a kid, I always thought, after watching this movie, like, man, I'd love to learn karate, but I never got around to do anything like that. Even though my best friend actually took karate lessons or whatever, taekwondo, I think. But anyways, as I've gotten older, I've loved the movie even more because of the relationship that Mr. Miyagi and Daniel has. Daniel doesn't have a father, and so he sees a father figure into Mr. Miyagi, who gives him advice, who helps him through this bully situation. But also, Mr. Miyagi used to have a son who passed away, and so Daniel becomes like his second son. And so it's just so beautiful, the friendship that they have. It's this father-son kind of relationship, but they're like best friends. They come, at the end of the movies, I guess, in the other movies. I think one of the best friendships we've ever seen in a movie. Like I said, Mr. Miyagi is so cool because he's not that intimidating looking, but then he has that scene where he beats up the other high school kids dressed as skeletons, great costume. That's such a great scene when he comes in. I think was my favorite scene as a kid. I think now my favorite scene is when he gets drunk because he remembers, his wife and son who passed away, and he's kind of going through emotions, and that's a great scene because you see that Daniel sees, we get a little bit more of Miyagi's backstory and how Daniel's helping him through what he's going through. And then that last, tournament scene, of course, the karate itself is not great. Like, it's not great choreographed karate necessarily, but one of the greatest songs of the 80s movies, when they get into that montage of different people fighting, of course you have to have a good montage in a movie like this, and you have, that song is so iconic. I'm trying to think of the name of it. You're the best around, no one's gonna keep you down, you're the best. Oh, love that song so much, and all that. And then the ending even is so great. Him finally, spoilers, wins his fight against Johnny, and then looks over to Miyagi. Miyagi just gives a nod, I think maybe a thumbs up. And that's the end. And the score is amazing as well. And there's so much stuff to talk about this movie. The wax on, wax off scene, it's so good as well. It's a movie that it's a great story. It's emotional, dramatic at times. It's funny at times. Has some action. And again, we get Cobra Kai, which is one of the best TV shows of all time from it. So yeah, Karate Kid here at number 9 on my list. Number 8, I'm going with one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time, and that is A Christmas Vacation. Or National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, I should say. Yeah, I love this movie. I watch it, every Christmas for sure. It's the Griswold family here with Chevy Chase playing the lead and his wife and 2 kids. And this time it's Christmas time. They bring all their family members together because he wants to have this great Griswold family kind of Christmas together. And it's just, oh man, it's so funny. I think it's the best of the National Lampoon's Vacation series. I think it's their second movie that they did. It's just so many crazy classic moments. Love their, of course, Uncle Eddie or whatever, the backwards rednecks from Kansas, from my state. He's by Randy Quaid is hilarious, and that part always been one of my favorite parts of it. But I love just about, all the trouble of Christmas and how it can be very stressful and how family can be very stressful to be around. And it just plays on that so well. The dinner scene, getting the Christmas tree. My favorite scene is just him putting up the lights. And the whole lights, it's just hilarious because he puts way too many lights on the roof. It takes you so long to put that many lights on the roof. It's just unrealistic, but it's hilarious, I think. And then the fact that when he turns it on, it takes out power from like the city because it's too much. And just that he's had so much trouble in that moment when he finally clicks the 2 things in, and then you hear the Hallelujah, the Hallelujah chorus, and in the light, the house is so bright. Oh gosh, I never get tired of that scene. That always cracks me up so much. But yeah, great comedy, great Christmas movie. Have it here at number 8, Christmas Vacation, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Number 7, I have First Blood. This is the first movie with Rambo starring Sylvester Stallone. I always thought of it as Rambo, but it's really called First Blood. And it's such an interesting beginning to this series because you always think Rambo is this big action guy with a big machine gun, shirtless, bandana, whatever. But this movie really deals more with it's less on the action, it's more on the drama of the story and this character, John Rambo, who's coming back from Vietnam and trying to find his friends who he served with, but they've all passed away, and one passed away from cancer because of Agent Orange. And he really has nowhere to go. He has no friends or family, it seems like, and so he's kind of just a wanderer. And he wanders into this town, and the sheriff, doesn't want him there because I don't know, he scares people, I guess. I don't know, for whatever reason. And there's this anti-Vietnam thing. And it deals with PTSD, I think. I think it's an interesting way to look at Vietnam and like what the, troops coming home, how they were not celebrated like they celebrated, World War II vets coming home. And then we get this different era where we didn't celebrate troops coming home and how that deals with their psyche and all that. So I thought it does that in a very interesting way. And Sylvester Stallone gives just an amazing performance. I think should have been nominated for an Oscar. One of his best performances. That and Rocky, I think, are two best performances that he's ever given. But I just love the whole story of the sheriff arrests him and kind of goes beyond. Doesn't realize he has this very, very dangerous Army Ranger, who did did things they couldn't even think of in Vietnam, in war, in jungle warfare, like the stuff that he had to do to survive. And he was a POW and all this. And these are just small town police department and try to deal with this guy. I think it's an interesting idea. Definitely the best scene in the movie is when they go after him in the forest and he takes them all out, one person after another, because he knows how to camouflage themselves. He knows how to sneak up on people, and he knows how to set traps. And when he takes everybody out, and then he has a sheriff last, he has him up against that tree with the knife in his throat, and he says, "I could have killed you. I could have killed all of you. If you want a war, I can bring it to you, but just stop chasing me, basically. Like, cause like next time I won't I won't be easy on you. Basically, I don't know why I love that scene. I just love his whole psyche of just like, man, I've been through a lot. I went through a lot in the Vietnam War. You couldn't even imagine what I've done or what I had to go through. And now you're pushing me too far and you're not gonna like. Anyways, I don't know. I just love his whole demeanor of that. And just really just a chase story. It's him being chased by these police department through these woods, anyways. And that last scene where uh, his old army commander, whatever, Troutman, comes and tries to get him to come out peacefully, they're gonna shoot him. And he has a whole it's such a great scene because it deals with the PTSD part of it. Him saying it's over, nothing's over. You asked me, I didn't ask you. Saying I didn't want to go to Vietnam. You made me go to Vietnam. And he goes into like, I used to be able to do all this great stuff, and now I can't even park cars, and people call me baby killer. And that whole scene just amazing. But yeah, I just love this movie for just a really interesting look at Vietnam War vets coming home and the PTSD they have to deal with. And yeah, just great performances all around. Great story. Absolutely love this movie. First Blood at number 7 on my list. Number 6, I have The Princess Bride. I forgot what the name of it was on top of my mind, but yeah, I always love this. This is a really fun fantasy, action, adventure, romance, comedy. It's just kind of the perfect movie for me. Like it adds everything I love, and it's just so many great lines, and it's iconic. And I love the characters that they're created here. And I even love that the movie is all about this grandfather reading to his sick grandson. And it has a great cast. I mean, when you have Peter Falk just kind of barely in the movie as a grandfather, and he's telling the story to his grandson, who's not very interested at first, but then as he goes on, his grandson starts to get invested in the story. So that's kind of an interesting way to do the movie that I've never seen really before. And then telling this fantasy story, Carrie Ells and Robin Wright. It's a great love story between those two characters. But then she is forced to marry, the king, who's terrible and evil. And then Carrie Ells comes back, and stuff like "as you wish," meaning "I love you." It's a great line. It's a great idea. And then him saving the princess from I forget his name, but three guys that one is the Andre the Giant, and the other one's Igno Montoya, whatever, and I forget the other guy, Wallace Shawn's character, but he's one of those three are so great together. Andre John's got this low voice, and anybody want a peanut, and so many great lines. I don't think you know what that word means, or something like that. I don't think that word means what you think it means. He says to Wallace Shawn, inconceivable, all those great lines. And so great. Like one of the best sword fighting scenes ever done in the movie, with I'm forgetting what Carrie Ells' character, the main character, he has to fight off the other two henchmen to get to Wallace Shawn's character. And man, just amazing sword fight. I love that they respect each other. And Igno, I can't say his name, Igno Montoya, whatever. His whole backstory of his father being killed, and he's trying to find the six-fingered man, and he's trained his whole life to be like the greatest swordsman ever. And that's a whole great backstory that plays into the movie. And then Andre Giant's just funny, he's like I don't even work out, and why do you wear a mask? And just the whole fight scene that he has with them as well is very fun. Plays very well, and then his whole duel with Wallace Shawn's character is so great. But yeah, again, it's a great romance story. Love Billy Crystal has a great cameo here as what's he called? I'm forgetting names, but he's kind of a magician of some sorts, or a sorcerer or something. And so, they bring him the dead body of the main character, and he's like, he's just mostly dead. He's not fully dead. And then he's willing to help them to figure out how to get him to come back to life, which is a cool fantasy idea. And, you know, have fun, storm the castle. Oh, the Miracle Man. I think it's called the Miracle Man. Can they do it? It'll take a miracle. You know, oh, so many great lines. Just so quotable of a movie. But yeah, and then the last, again, just the Carrie Ells and Andre the Giant and Inigo Montoya, whatever. Those three characters together are so fun. They're so great. Again, the movie's so much great action. It's a really cool story, fantasy story with fantastic fantasy creatures as well, like the giant rats and all that. Gosh, it's so great and so funny. It's absolutely hilarious, and love the story, you know, between Princess Buttercup, whatever, and the main guy, and it's just a fantastic ending where everybody, Inigo Montoya kills the guy who killed his father. You know, they defeat the evil king, whatever, and they live happily ever after. I don't know. It's just a great, you know, one of those fancy fairy tale stories of everything happening happy in the ending. And I love that. I love a good happy ending. And then I'll even say I love how it ends with the grandfather saying, or the grandson saying to the grandfather, you know, you can come back tomorrow and read me the story again. And the grandfather saying, as you wish, meaning I love you. I don't know. It makes me kind of cry at the end. I think that's kind of a beautiful thing, the grandfather saying that to the grandson. Anyways, I said a lot about this movie. I absolutely love it. Princess Bride here, number 6 on the list. All right, I think I'm going to end the video there. 10 through 6 on my list because I just love talking about these movies, and I got 5 more great movies to talk about. It's going to take me a while to get through them, so stop here. Have 5 more to go, and hope you enjoy hearing about my thoughts on these movies. And what do you think about these 5 movies? Are these movies that you enjoy as well as me? Please let me know in the comments. Besides that, thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for liking it. And thank you to all my subscribers for supporting the channel. I appreciate you all and I hope you have a good day.